have a lot of activity going on, and luckily today it resulted in some very good news. I'm sure, is there anyone who hasn't been following the story with Shanine Allen? Okay, good. So of course the good news is, not loud enough? The good news is, stop moving, come forward. The good news is that the Attorney General did a clarification of the interpretation of how the Graves Act needs to be interpreted for the Atlantic County prosecutor, basically resulting in the fact that now these cases where someone obviously was not committing a crime but did make a technical error, such as Shanine Allen, made the mistake of thinking that New Jersey was part of the United States. I mean, that is an error, and she must pay for that. But as it turns out, they're going to give her pretrial intervention. So, she is free from the threat of spending, 3 to 5 years or longer in prison away from her children, where it would make absolutely no sense to incarcerate this woman. This was an effort on the part of a lot of people. She has a good attorney. Evan Knappen did a very good job. But I will also say that today the voice of the people was heard. In New Jersey, the voice of the people was heard. And I want to drive that point home because you guys know, and you run into it the same as I do. The naysayers will never get anything accomplished in New Jersey. You're banging your head against a brick wall. You're wasting your time. Don't bother. Move. Go to North Carolina, etc., etc., etc. That's not the answer. I mean, the answer is not to move to North Carolina. The answer is to stay here, fight, and do more of the kind of thing that happened right today with Shanine Allen. Now, let's just to revisit a little bit. And this is, as I said, this was a joint effort. There was a lot of people involved in this. But the NJ2AS played a very, very big role. And I think people realize that. When this first broke, I'll give you just one example. When this first broke, the fund that they were raising funds for her defense fund to pay her legal bills was really kind of limping along. And then we started promoting it, and it just shot up. I mean, it really shot up very quickly. We started bringing national attention to it, and by reaching out to our fellow leaders across the nation. All the gun leaders, we went to the gun leaders of New Hampshire, the gun leaders of Iowa, the gun leaders of North Carolina, Virginia Citizens Defense League, Connecticut Citizens Defense League, you name it. We reached out to them and we said, look, this is what we need you to do. Because we have a governor who has national aspirations, we need you to call the governor's office and put pressure and say, I'm not from New Jersey. I'm from Illinois. I'm from Iowa. I'm from New Hampshire. And I heard about this situation with this woman who had a valid carry permit, just like I have a valid carry permit from my state. And I would never come into your state and do business with you because I have to worry about the fact that I might make a mistake and wind up in prison for 10 years. So a lot of people did this. A lot of people. I mean, a lot of people called and inundated the office. And as a result, you kept hearing Governor Christie say, there's nothing I can do. I don't interfere with these proceedings, until such time as there's a conviction, and then I can, then I can do something. I can do a commutation, so forth. Well, that was, how shall we call this? Bull tinkling. All right? The thing that he could do as chief executive of the state of New Jersey, and I said this from the beginning, was he's the chief law enforcement officer, no matter how you look at it. The Attorney General reports to him, and the prosecutor reports to the Attorney General, so S runs downhill. You know, so you had, so to say that he couldn't do anything, and we kept hammering the point home that yes, absolutely you could. You could exert pressure on the Attorney General. Well, folks, I can't tell you that that's what happened, but I think that it's interesting that basically what's being reported is the Attorney General clarified for the prosecutor the information concerning the Graves Act, which is the culprit in this particular instance. Is there anyone that doesn't know what the Graves Act is? Yeah, let me go into that real quick. Just, you know, this is not a bad thing to just refresh people about. Basically what the Graves Act says, and this is critical, a crime involving a firearm is punishable by minimum mandatory sentences. Okay? So what it does, in fact, is remove the judge's discretion in terms of sentencing someone who's convicted of a quote-unquote gun crime. Well, again, crossing the border from Pennsylvania into the state where rights go to die is considered a gun crime if you happen to have a firearm on your person. And you don't have a New Jersey what? A New Jersey what?
Yeah.
You know, New Jersey carry permits are like, what, unicorns, farts or something? I don't know, but they're you know. Okay, so my point is that, you know, we've complained about the Graves Act, prosecutors have complained about the Graves Act, and judges have complained about the Graves Act. As a matter of fact, this judge, Judge Stonio, prior to the Shaneen, this incident, well, the resolution of this incident, had said the Graves Act shackles the judges, takes away the judge's discretion and shackles him to these mandatory sentences. We don't like it. So I think this is, the reason I bring this up is I think this is a good time for us to call for the repeal of the Graves Act. All right, I think we need to call for it. I think we need to start a movement to repeal the Graves Act. It doesn't do what it was intended to do. Unless they want to rewrite it, and it says specifically, those people who commit a violent crime with a firearm will have minimum mandatory sentences. That, you know, and look, I don't think there's anyone in this room that wants criminals or crazy people to have firearms, right? So I think we're all in agreement there. If not, let me know later. We'll have a little private talk. But, you know, none of us want criminals or crazy people to have firearms. But we, you know, so those people can be, and those are really pretty much the only exceptions. I can't really think of any other exceptions. Now, those can be abused as well, so we have to be alert and we have to be on the lookout for abuses. Because, you know, I mean, there are certainly in our modern history, if you look back on Germany and some of the other fascist and dictatorships that we've seen, that the first thing they do is they just declare you're all crazy, you know, and then they can do whatever they want. So yeah, obviously we have to be careful of that. But in those instances where it's true, we don't want those people to have firearms because, you know, they can't tell the difference between a child and a pink elephant. You know, you just don't want those people having guns. In those cases, that's fine. Then you know, of course, Graves Act wouldn't really engage with somebody who had a mental defense, you know, insanity defense, because they would be handled in a different way. But those violent criminals, that's the way they need to be handled. But the rest of us, somebody makes an error. You know, like Brian Aiken, another really good example. I think pretty much everybody knows the Brian Aiken story, which, by the way, somebody still has to explain to me how he was convicted of 3 crimes: unlawful gun possession, possession of a magazine over 15 rounds, and transportation of hollow point bullets. My understanding is, and somebody can correct me, that possession of hollow point bullets is only a crime during the commission of a crime.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yep.
So he overturned on appeal the unlawful possession. He overturned on appeal the magazine because they never proved the way that they're supposed to. There's a procedure that the magazine actually could hold more than 15 rounds. But yet he's still convicted on the hollow point bullets. Well, now where's the crime? Well, the crime is...
Who overturned it? You're saying he overturned it?
No, on appeal. They were overturned on appeal. He appealed them and they were overturned on appeal. Yeah. So here's the problem, though. Apparently, as you know, in the state of New Jersey, handguns are banned. Okay, I mean you have to start off with that presumption because that's actually the truth. It is unlawful to be in possession of a handgun unless it's in your home. You're on your way to and from the range with it locked in the trunk of your car. You're in the process of moving. You're in the process of to or from the point of purchase, the gunsmith, and you know whatever the exemptions are. There's no exemption for transporting hollow point bullets. So I know I'm kind of diverging from what we were talking about, but just keep in mind that New Jersey gun laws are, I won't say that they're deliberately designed to entrap people, but they're so poorly written that they do entrap people. So we have to be extra vigilant while we change these laws, and that's the ultimate goal, is we've got to get rid of these draconian laws. They're too convoluted, they don't make any sense. And, you know, we have a lawyer here, you know, with us tonight, Jeff Henninger. I don't know if you guys know. Jeff, just introduce yourselves. This is
some of you will probably have either talked to at some point, but I am Jeff Henninger. I actually live here in Tom's River, but I practice in the whole state. I've been supporter for years. I'm the gold sponsor.
Yes.
Gold sponsor.
Yes.
So anything you need, just let me know.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been the case that he's been handling, and I'm glad that he's taken an interest. He's really taken a specific interest in our group, and it's going to be a tremendous help to us going forward. But we're going to look at these laws, and we're going to look at which ones we can really pick apart. Now, what's the ultimate goal? Very simply, constitutional carry. I mean, it's really the only answer. And when we say constitutional carry, I don't even really mean constitutional carry. What I mean is, you're a human being. I'm a human being. I have a right to my life. I have a right to my life no matter where I go, right? As long as I have a right to be there, if I'm not initiating the use of force against my neighbor, I'm not breaking into his house, I'm not threatening his life or his family, I'm not stealing his vital property, right? So I'm not initiating the use of force against him. As a human being, I have the right to defend my life, my family, and my vital property, no matter what. The Constitution only says that the government can't interfere with that right. So, you know, we use the word constitutional carry because, for a couple of reasons. We're used to the idea, you know, that the Constitution protects our rights. It doesn't in New Jersey. And really, even on a national basis, it's difficult to say that the Constitution really does the job of protecting rights because even in the, like the Heller and McDonald decisions where the Supreme Court said that the Second Amendment applies against the states and the local governments, they also didn't stop there, and they also said, but, you know, they can regulate them. So we need to be careful about, you know, how much we allow of that regulation. And that's where the legislature comes in, and that's where we have to have our influence. But there are certain things that they certainly are barred from. They cannot ban, like New Jersey basically does, ban handguns. Now they'll say that they don't because, well, you can purchase one and you can have it in your home. And they'll say that they don't because, yes, we do issue carry permits. Yeah, they have a procedure to issue carry permits, but you know, obviously you're not going to get one because you can't demonstrate justifiable need, which means to the courts that you have a specific, imminent threat to your life that can't be avoided any other way. I may be leaving out a few words here and there, but that's basically the idea.
Gary shot me still on the loose.
Say, yeah, well.
The guy who shot me is still on the list.
Yeah, that's not good enough. Don't worry, it's over now, right? That's what they told the pet shop owner from North Jersey when he got kidnapped and beaten and thrown in the trunk of a car and dragged out to Missouri, and he escaped. And he came back and he applied for the carry permit, and they said, well, it's over now. So this is the mentality, you know, yeah, this is the mentality that we're dealing with in the state of New Jersey. Okay, so what's the main point of this evening? Well, the main point is because the voice of the people of New Jersey and the nation, we engaged the voice of the nation in this, and we were able to do that. So when people say, you know, one person can't make it, one group can't make a difference, that's probably true. One person by themselves can't make a difference, one group by themselves can't make a difference, but if you can get, right, if you can inspire a whole nation full of groups and people, individuals to voice their support or lack thereof, depending upon the situation, but in this case, support for justice for a young woman that really committed no crime, then you can change the world. You can make a difference. So, and let me tell you something else that people don't understand. Well, there's a few people here that probably would agree with me. I'm nobody special. I'm just a guy. Matter of fact, and I think I've told you this story before, I never even touched a gun until I was 61 years old. So I didn't grow up around them. I'm not a sportsman or a competitor or any of that. No, I'm not a hunter. I didn't do any of those things. I just was introduced to firearms really at a very old age, 61. And so, you know, I got into it, and, you know, just seeing the draconian, barbaric procedures. I mean, to apply for a firearm, they invasively search my mental health records. You know, why do they have to do that? It's already in the NICS database, right? If they want to know if I've been adjudicated mentally incompetent, all they have to do is pick up and make that one call, the NICS check, right? If they want to know if I've been convicted of a violent felony, that's really all they have to do. And in most states, that's all they do. But in New Jersey, we get the real doo-doo, and, you know, that's... So, anyway, my point is, if I can get up here, I never spoke in front of people before I started this. I never really, and I'm a horrible organizer. My cohorts will tell you that. I'm a terrible organizer. I can't organize my way out of a paper bag. But the truth of the matter is, you can inspire other people. So if you believe in, you know, if you believe in your cause, get up and talk. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, talk to your family, you know, inspire people. Talk to other groups. You know, if there's something that you believe in, like, you know, it's Agenda 21 nonsense and the Common Core nonsense, and, you know, you can look around you. There's so many different issues that we have, not only the Second Amendment, that, you know, our rights are being eroded on not a daily basis, almost like on an hourly basis, our rights are being eroded. We need to stand up, we need to talk, we need to voice our opinions, and we need to join these other groups. We need to get national groups involved, you know, other national groups involved, and work with them. And you can change, because if we can change something in Jersey, even something small like this, then we can change a hell of a lot more. So, going forward, we want to repeal the Graves Act, or at least make sure that it's rewritten so it applies to the right people. We want to move towards a carry that relies upon the human right of self-defense. Okay? Now, you say, well, people, to me, the people who are against the right of other people to carry are completely illogical. No matter how you talk to them, it just doesn't make sense. You say to them, do you own your life? Yes, of course I own my life. Do you have a right to defend yourself if somebody, if attacked, if somebody, initiates lethal force against you? Do you have the right to defend you? Yes, of course. Do you have the right to carry a gun? Well, not that. Well, okay, so let's not talk about guns. Let's go back to the original language. Do you have the right to carry arms? to defend your life. So, you know, I mean, how illogical is it to say that, yes, I own my life, yes, I have the right to defend my life, but I don't have the right to the means by which to do it. And I think that if you present it to some people who think that they're against the right to carry, but really haven't thought it through, and I'm not talking about the dyed-in-the-wool liberals, because you're never going to change. You can't argue with liberals. It's just, you might as well just.
There's not even an inoculation for that.
No, there really isn't. But you know, you can talk to your friends who say, you know, well, I never really thought about it. You know, guns really, I don't want one. You know, but I think if you present it that way, they understand why you might want to be able to carry, especially in light of what we're seeing every day on the news. And they're saying, no, they're coming here. You know, now, I'm not an alarmist myself. I'm not seeing, you know, Muslims popping out, you know, behind every tree. But, you know, we do have the right to defend ourselves. And by the way, I don't believe that the government has the right to restrict which kinds of arms that we're allowed to have. Because if they're going to have bombs and automatic weapons, you know what I'm saying, then we need to be able to not retaliate, but to resist with the same kind of force. And that's just talking about criminals and terrorists. Don't get me started about our own government. And I'm not, you know, I don't want to overthrow the government. I don't, you know, that's not my thing. But you know, from modern times, we know that the greatest enemy of the people typically is their own government. So the reason that we don't have that here in the United States is because everybody has a gun. Well, not everybody, but so many people have firearms. They would be crazy to attempt it. We need to make sure that they stay crazy to attempt it, and that's why the right to keep their arms is so important to us. So, I mean, I know I don't have to, I'm talking to the choir here, I know I don't have to convince anyone here, but hopefully some of these arguments, you know, will be useful. Yes? Joseph, right?
Yeah, Joe,
Yeah.
thank you. I believe, I mean, we're all on board. We have the right to bear arms. I think where we get shot down always is that when we say we have the right to defend ourselves. I mean, that's what we're all in this for anyway.
Right.
But put that aside. It's about, we got authorized to get the purchase of permit. We were able to buy the guns. We're good enough citizens to buy them.
Yeah.
Good enough citizens to go take them to the shooting range and
Yeah.
all. I mean, that's what we got to stay focused on. You know, the whole like defending ourselves, that's going to come naturally. We got to stick to the whole, we're good citizens, we got our guns, we got our permits, and I mean, that's really what it's about.
I understand what you're
The other part will
saying.
come naturally.
I understand what you're
You know?
saying.
Why are we not allowed to carry them? You authorized us, you put us through the NICS.
Right.
We got permission to buy guns. I mean, I've purchased 4 of them in the last year, but I can't take them anywhere.
And Joe, once you have it, right, once you have been allowed to purchase it, you own it, and you buy ammunition and put the ammunition in a firearm, what's to stop you from committing a crime if that's what you want to do, right? And of course,
We got to fight on.
those people who are criminals, that's exactly what they do. So, you know, but instead of concentrating on the gang members, the drug dealers, and the career criminals, and they know who they are, and they know where they are, but those people are dangerous.
Yeah. Well, that'll come
It's a
naturally.
lot easier to yet write one more law that reduces your capacity of your firearm, or reduces your ability to have an automatic or a semi-automatic, or the barrel can't be this big, and the bore can't be that big, and the caliber can't be that big, and so forth.
Can't have a bayonet law.
Yeah, you can't have a bayonet law.
That's really important.
Yeah. So, okay. So what's the lesson? What's the lesson that we have learned just from this one incident? Is that the voice of the people can be heard. That you have to. It's got to be loud. It's got to be unified. It's got to be intense, and it's got to be persistent. And when it is, we get results. So whether it's me, whether it's Scott Bach or some other group, or that puts out the call to the liberty-minded citizens of New Jersey that there's an issue and you can relate to it, don't sit back and wait for the other guy. And I know most of you guys, you know, you're in it. You volunteer, you help, you do things. Don't sit back, because the other guy, he's waiting for you to do it. So you'll see we're going to be running different things. I still think that even though the situation with Shanine has been resolved, I think we still need to continue to run the NJ2AS feature project, which is the NJ2AS Fully Informed Jury project, and hand out these brochures that we've been doing. And I think we need to expand it. So far, we've only done it at the Atlantic County Criminal Courthouse. I think we need to do it at all the county courthouses. So maybe, we want to do it to Ocean County, Middlesex County. I'll be talking more about that. Yes.
I just think it's worth repeating what you said earlier about how now is the time, now that this outcome with Shanine came about, now's the time to go after something like Grade while it's still, kind of fresh in people's minds. There's a lot of, talk about it, everything like that. And we have to keep in mind that while this outcome is probably as good as it could have been, the only real favorable outcome in this case would have been if they dropped the charges completely and let her walk away with no record and no anything.
100%.
And within like a couple of days after it happened. And the reality is she's had a whole life disrupted, turned upside down. She'll never be the same after this, no matter what the outcome is at this point.
They had her, really, they had her bouncing off the walls.
So,
it was a very frightening
we should continue
experience.
to, use that as a
I agree with you. It's called momentum.
Right.
We have the momentum. We don't want to lose it. I'll try to do my best to guide it, but again, like I said, I'm nobody special. I'm just one person. So any one of you might have an idea that says, you know what, and Jeff, he's got some legal experience, and you have some political experience, and you have, each one of us has our own realm that maybe we're better than the guy sitting next to us. Speak up and tell us how we can use that momentum to keep moving this mission forward, because really, that's what it's all about. I mean, I would love to just take that one giant step and say, give us the right to carry. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, but we can start chipping away, and we can do both. We can keep demanding that we get that right to carry, but at the same time, we need to chip away at these other things, like the delays on the purchase permits and the delays on the FID cards and so forth.
So just curious, how big a factor do you think the Ray Rice episode
I think the Ray Rice episode had a tremendous impact on this. All right, why? Because of the juxtaposition of those two situations. Here you have a guy smacking his girlfriend unconscious in an elevator. He gets a slap on the wrist and gets PTI. And here you have a woman who, as I say, drove into the not United States. And
so were it not for Ray Rice's episode?
Well, I won't go that far. I will not go that if it weren't for, I would not go that far. I will tell you, no, that's not the only reason we got national attention. That helped a great deal, but that wasn't the only reason. We already had, pretty much national attention starting to go from these gun rights leaders and liberty-minded Tea Party leaders and so forth. It was already starting to foment prior to that really breaking the way that it did. Did it help? Absolutely. It brought it to a head a lot faster, but I would not say that if it weren't for the Ray Rice incident, she would not have gotten this result. I think that if we, the people, do our job and look after each other, because that's really what this was all about, looking after each other and saying, no, that's, somebody asked me the question, Frank, why did you get involved in this, Was it the 2A? It wasn't, I'm maybe ashamed to say it in front of you people, but I didn't get involved in this because of the 2A aspect of it. I got involved in it from the compassion aspect. Right. I had compassion for this young woman who was facing 10 years in prison for doing nothing. And just so happens that I know a little bit, this much more maybe than the average guy on the street.
Any one of us could have gone through what she went through.
Absolutely.
It could have happened to anyone.
Absolutely. You're coming up on your way from the range, about home from the range, and you forget, and you'll pick up your clothes. Oh, I got to pick up my clothes at the cleaner. I got my ticket, and for some reason your taillight's out or whatever. I don't know. It's a far-flung thing because you're not really risking much by doing that. But theoretically, you could be arrested for unlawful gun possession. Or illegal transportation, yes.
I'm just curious, did she get much help from her home state? She was from Philly.
From Philly?
From Pennsylvania? You know?
Only, we did from the media, we got more, we got more help from NBC 10, I think it is, and WCAU, which is, I think, the CBS. We got more, we got nothing from the New York affiliates, nothing. I didn't hear, did anyone hear
That's to be
anything?
expected, but,
Yeah, did anyone hear any mention of Shaneen Allen on, yeah, I didn't either, okay. Fox, you know, but,
Mark Levin out of New York.
yeah, and the talk show hosts, yes. Yes.
So once she goes through the PPI process, will she be a felon or
No,
not?
absolutely not. No, the wonderful thing about the diversion process, the pretrial intervention is that once you go through your probation and you may have to attend some classes and you do a little bit of community service, you're no record. She won't even lose her her Mexican carry permit. Yeah, she won't even lose her Pennsylvania carry permit. So, well, I mean, whether she'll ever see the handgun that she had again, I don't know. But that's, you know, in the grand scheme of things, that's minor. Yes.
I don't belong to this group, but I have you on my Facebook.
Oh, good.
I read it there, where to donate money to it.
Oh, good.
If I didn't see it there, I want to know where to donate.
Right.
I am in contact with I don't know how many people, 6 in this area, and I didn't see a word about them from any of them.
Really?
Did you contact any of them in this
Yes,
area?
I did. As a matter of fact, you'll see, if you're on Facebook, you will see, if you go to the different Tea Party or Skylands and Middlesex County Tea Party, as a matter of fact, Middlesex County Tea Party was very involved in this.
Burlington or any of
Well,
them?
I don't know about Burlington, I don't know.
East.
I presented it
Yeah.
at West Jersey.
Yeah, but I can tell you that
Because I
Middlesex,
didn't see any more about it, you know? Our Tea Party in Ocean County didn't have nothing about it.
you know,
I backtracked. Yours,
yeah, Mike, you'll see my posts on every single one of them. You know, but did I, you know, what I should have done is picked up the phone and spoken to each one of those leaders. But you know, I'll tell you, there's a lot of them. You know, and I was more focused, honestly, on getting the out-of-state people because I wanted the pressure to be on Christie. And the prosecutor doesn't care about people from out of state, and even the Attorney General doesn't care about people from out of state, but Christie does. And I knew that, as I said, that runs downhill, so, you know, if we could put the pressure on him, the rest would happen.
I went to Trenton with you once,
Yeah.
to the Senate. And after going with you there,
Yeah.
I have no use for a Senate.
Right.
Sweeney, you know?
Right.
He says he protects the Second Amendment. His version of it,
Yeah,
the way he interprets it.
Absolutely.
Protect-
yeah, they'll all say, I fully support the Second Amendment, but except for the right to carry.
Or magazines in the spot.
Yeah, or magazine, yeah, or whatever, you know, it's just.
Just to support the Tea Party, though,
Yeah.
a few weeks, 2-3 weeks ago maybe, we attended Governor
Yeah.
Christie's birthday party, uninvited, but there was a gang of us out there, and there was a whole bunch of Tea Party folks there.
That was the Middlesex County Tea Party, yes. They've been very active.
Nice
Tea Party
down
people
support.
inside lobbying directly to the people.
Oh, that's good too, yes, I do know that there were, yes. So, yeah, and you know, I think that we need to reach out to all of these groups, and there are some kind of unifying groups that are being formed throughout New Jersey, one or two, you know, we'll see how it shakes out, that are trying to basically unite all the Tea Parties, all the liberty-minded groups, all the 2A groups and so forth. It's a tough, yeah, it's a tough.
Could be quite a voting bloc.
Yeah, it could be a wonderful thing.
And
It's
that's
like,
going to go a long way in towards changing these laws.
it's not like hurting, it's not like hurting
cats.
cats, it's like hurting the fleas on the backs of cats to get all of this to happen. So I will get down on my knees and worship the person who was able to pull it together, because it's really tough. Yes. Yes, sir.
Well, you did have it
Right.
publicized on NRA News, so that will be.
NRA, towards the end, I didn't see much.
No, it's on your NRA News
Yeah.
almost weekly.
Yeah.
I posted it on the Pennsylvania Firearms
Yeah,
Association.
yes,
board.
yes. And the NRA did a very, yes, they put it, anybody didn't see this, and the online version also had, yes. So the NRA did get on board, especially recently. And of course, Ginny Simone, who does the NRA News, she's been on board for a while.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, she's been solidly on board with
Which is
it.
not only
She
me.
really helped a great deal. So, yeah, you'll see that the NRA did get involved. Yes, Grant?
But I think that one of the things that's important to remember is that the NRA came on in the end, but one of the things that this organisation did is it reached out to very grassroots gun owners all across the country through at least 2 very important podcasts. They went in through Tom Grisham's radio show and
Yes.
podcast, and through the Polite Society podcast.
Yes.
And I've heard this being discussed more than once, in fact many times, on these podcasts, and hundreds of thousands of people hear those. And the other thing that made an enormous impact, if not a difference, because it came so close to the end, was the billboard campaign.
Mhm.
Those billboards going up outside, close to where this went, in an initiative that was driven by this organisation and Tom Grisham's organisation, must have made a big difference because people saw them every day going in and out to work. This was not done by national organisations. Frank is not misstating when he says this was done by people like us, individuals, being outraged and picking up the phone, and that happened because of the effort that Frank put in to reach out to all these people. Make no mistake.
I was just one of a
Make
lot
no
of
mistake.
people that did. But
Frank put the effort in, and this was driven by him, and this society has benefited from that because of his work.
thank you, Grant.
Did not go unnoticed. The date is September 24th. What do we have coming up in just a little while? Election of the Assemblyman.
Mhm.
Okay, you had Senator or Assemblyman Dancer introduce Shanine's law bill there, and he was lobbying other senators from down south and assemblymen from the south, Democrats and Republicans, getting bipartisan support on this. I don't think they wanted to be embarrassed or lose any votes. So the timing of this was also very important.
It was.
I mentioned something that, because I'm actually trying to get involved in that, is that while that bill does have bipartisan support in the Assembly, there's no Senate sponsorship.
There is one, isn't
Yeah,
there?
well,
As of a couple days ago, I think it's kind of new. So,
yeah.
there's not a lot, I mean, it wasn't like last time we checked.
No, it's not a tidal wave of it, but
Yeah, so
there is
it's just,
some.
I think it's also important to reach out to your state senators
I
to
believe
ask
all
them
of
to
this just-
sponsor that bill as well.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of Senate sponsorship to move forward.
Absolutely. I encourage everyone to call your assemblyman and call your senator and say, I support Shanine's law. I support Shanine's law. Please push it forward. And, you know, these are the kind, I can also encourage you, you can go to the because I do this, you can go to the New Jersey legislation website and you can subscribe. There's a place to subscribe. You can say anytime a gun bill is being considered, being introduced, being reviewed, goes to the committee, whatever, notify me, and it'll automatically send you an email. That's basically how I stay on top of these things. So I encourage you to go there and do that. You can search all kinds of information on there. It's really quite good. Did anyone else have any further questions? Well, I want to give Dan Berger a chance to, he has a few things that he'd like to speak on, and I encourage him to do that, and I encourage everyone to listen. So, Dan, if you could.
5 minutes, that's all.
Gives me a chance to sit down, too.
Yeah, it gets your back was hurt. A couple things. Just as a start, I'm Dan Berenger. I'm the founder of the East Jersey Tea Party. I'm the former president, and I'm not here representing them. Quick question: can somebody tell me what some of the rights that the Constitution grants?
None.
None.
None, exactly. This is a tough audience. Usually, oh this. No, it grants none. It just it's a safeguard of those rights. Okay. Another thing Frank said: one person, really can't make a difference. I disagree. Frank made a difference. One person can make a difference if they just get out there and work it. Okay. Lobbying is good. Polling is good. Rallies are good. They're all good. But they don't really get the job done. as I developed my, political, whatever, getting more involved, I been learning, taking classes, and I ran for office with my wife as a county committee person. And it was quite an experience. I found that there was 250 voters in my little district in Jackson, which we have the Central Jersey Gun Club in our area, so yay. And I went and got a list of all those voters from the county, and I knocked on all their doors. And can anybody tell me how many voters came out to vote on primary day?
How many members of your family?
Nice guy. Any guesses how many voters out of 250?
17.
38.
Oh.
38.
Kid, I'm surprised they didn't knock you over.
That's because I knocked on the doors. That some of the, I looked at the results. Some of them were 12, 10, 4 voters in our whole district. This is a primary. This is very important to understand that if you want to get involved, it's not that difficult. You can get involved. I would encourage you to get involved when I'm finished. And just take over the party that you want to take over. That's what we're doing. Now that I'm in, and the wife is in, we're trying to caucus with other conservatives, bring them out of the closet, and form a force. All this leads up to the fact that only 38 people out of 250 voted. Shows you that those are the only voters that the politicians really care about. They don't care about the rest of them. They don't vote. Primary day, they don't really care about it. It's 38. It's not 250. It's 38. In some cases, it's less. You multiply that at a larger scale, a county, state, it's the same deal. A small percentage of voters on primary day. Those are the only people that they really care about. So what do you want to do? You want to do a Second Amendment law? Okay, not a problem. Most people will agree with your position, but how do you convey that information to the legislature? You get a list of the voters that vote. That list of my 38. We're getting them statewide, county by county. We're getting the Democrats, the Independents, and the Republicans. We even have Green Party people in there. And we're identifying the ones that voted in the last 4 or 5 primaries. Those are the people who vote in every single election. That will reduce the amount of people that we have to contact in order to do any whatever it is, 2A, 1A, whatever it is.
Is that the project Joe wants to do?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good.
Yep, I'm working with Joe, and we're doing it. We're going gangbusters here.
Good.
Okay. This all leads me up to a change of how we think about the way government works. There is a course that is being offered. The next course is it's a 5-classroom course. Each class is probably a couple months apart because there's homework involved. It's a no BS course.
I can attest to it. I took class 1 and class 2. Excellent.
Yep.
Rob,
I took it.
lifted. I mean, it's
Okay.
exceptional.
It'll change the way you think about government. It'll get you to talk to the legislatures. You get more flies with honey than you will vinegar. And if they know the power that you have of getting those 38 voters to vote the way you would like them to vote by talking to those voters directly, they will listen to you. Otherwise, you're out at a rally holding a sign, it's great. Did you register a voter? No. Did you influence a legislator? No. Did it feel good? Yes. Did other people see you? Yes. But you didn't get the job done. The course is from the Tennessee Center for Self-Governance, tncsg.org. The course is October 11th. It's a Saturday. I had to fight to get the Saturday. It's right here in Jackson. It's 30 minutes from here. And it's $50. It's an all-day course. The course starts at 9. Doors open at 8:30. It goes to 5. There's a working lunch. It is intense. And I guarantee it will change the way you think about government. And if you really want to make a change, you will take this course. Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Yeah, I have a question. You said 250 voters. That's out of how many residents? How many potential voters?
It was a primary, so in order to run in a primary, the primaries are run by the party, or you call the party a club.
But
So
how
you
many
have to join the club in order to vote in a primary.
How many people are in that district that aren't voting?
Well, 250 minus 38. That's
Well,
Republicans.
I can explain it. Anyone work on the voting polls?
Yes.
Well, as you notice in the voting polls, you work in a district. That district can have so many people registered in that book, usually it's about 1,500 people.
Right.
In the past primary election, 100 people showed up out of 1,200, 1,500.
So what I'm saying
What we're
is-
trying to bring out from this
Maybe I'm
class,
missing some, but is that,
it's a fraction of what is really out there voting in primaries, which the primary voters are the ones that can make the biggest change. More
can you
than,
get that 250 number up?
you gotta knock on doors and.
That's what I'm getting. How many people, potential voters, do you have there that you don't have on?
I don't care about the potential voters. I don't
For
care.
the next
They don't
election.
show up.
For the next election.
Well, that's fine. You can go out, you can have
What I would
registration
suggest-
cards right in there. And if you do register a voter, to keep the registration with you.
What you're trying to
and
do
mail
is
it
go
yourself.
after people that you know that vote. You don't
what
wanna
I-
waste your time with someone that doesn't vote, even though they're a registered voter.
I
You
understand
gotta
that.
maximize your effort.
Well, 250 just doesn't sound a lot to me. What I would suggest
It's not.
is, I'm a member of Central Jersey, and we have a monthly meeting every month. We're gonna have one next Wednesday. We have that many people at every meeting. I would say what you just said
What you're not
today
getting
at
is-
that meeting.
A county district is on a
That's
small little section.
Oh, I didn't know it was that small. I'm sorry, I thought it was bigger than that.
In Jackson, there's 36 districts alone in
Okay, I
Jackson.
got you.
Okay, so that's 72 representatives, so,
Okay.
you know, but the illustration is the same. If you just multiply it out, extrapolate it, you will
Right.
see that a tiny percentage of people are really, could be, if they knew what they had, knew the power they had, could be in control of the legislator.
Yeah, that's the answer I was looking for.
Okay, and believe me, this is just one small portion of this course. I would really implore you, I beg you to take the course. Sir,
The date, October 11th that you mentioned, is that one of the 5
that's
courses?
level 1.
That's the beginning, it's the start.
That's the starting course. There's Friday, the Friday before, the guy's gonna be here, he's doing the level 3 course. Okay?
Can you take them in any order, or is it?
No.
So you have to go in sequence?
No, you have homework to do, and you have to turn it in, and you have to bring it with you. And it's, you know, it's not that hard, but it is homework. The homework for the first course, you want me to tell you what it is? Okay. You have to sit down and have an interview with at least one legislator. Democrat, Republican, you're not to talk, you don't have to talk about politics, you can. But you just want to get to know him, so the next time he sees you, he'll say, "Hey, Joe, how you doing? Hey, Bill, what's up?" Hey, you know? And then you have a relationship with him, okay? The other part of it is you're going to write a 1,500-word paper, which is not that much, it's not that hard. It's basically a stream of consciousness of a bill that you would like to see introduced into the New Jersey legislature. At the end of the 5 courses, you should be able to introduce that legislation or other legislation. You should have the whole process down. You should have already people that you know, Assemblyman Dancer. I go there every week. Every week, hey, how's it going? I don't necessarily see him, but I see the chief of staff. I bring candy for their candy jar. Hey, Joan, how are you? Hey, could you make a copy? Sure, Dan, how's it, you know? And that's the way it's done. That's it. So, lead a horse in the water?
That is the way it's done, because you have to be seen. You know, if you want to have a relationship with these legislators, they have to know who you are, yes.
I'd like to say something about voting. I worked the last election for Lonigan. We went out counting the votes early in the morning to see how many people were voting. We got 90-some thousand people in Thompson River alone. When we got back, we counted how many people had working at the polls, $200 a person. The turnout, it cost each taxpayer in Toms River $40
Per vote.
per vote.
Yeah.
You know, that's ridiculous.
It is. But people have thrown up their hands and given up, and we got to stop doing that. You know, we have to really believe that we can make a change, and then we can. So let's move on, because I want to talk about the future of the New Jersey Second Amendment Society, and a lot of this depends on you. Now, I have a vision that I'm trying to get understood by my core group so that we can actually implement this vision. And the vision is as follows. In order for us to do the job that we need to do, to reach out to the people that we need to touch and get involved, we need a network, okay? We need a network of people. And, you know, let's say I was a central coordinator. I mean, how many people can I personally organize without losing my mind, right? Maybe 4, 5, 6, maybe. So what I envision is we have, break the state down into, doesn't really matter whether it's voting districts, whether it's some kind of geographical breakdown. There's been a number of different schemes that have been suggested. We want to set up one or more local area coordinators in each of these districts. And then we will have one or more central coordinators who will then be the liaison between those outposts, right, and the Central Committee of the New Jersey Second Amendment Society, composed of myself and some of the other officers, so that we can steer the mission forward. So, for instance, I mean, it could be as simple as something like, look, we've got an event coming up, and it's a statewide event, and we want people to come, but how am I going to get these flyers to every place in the state? Well, if I've got this network in existence, I can tell my central coordinators, here's the thing, go to Kinko's, make the copies, go to the UPS store or whatever, send them to your area coordinators, and ask them to put them in the local ranges, put them in the CJRPC, put them in Cherry Ridge, put them here, there, and everywhere, put them in, go to the FFLs, go to the dealers, go to the clubs and ranges, and put the flyers out. You know, ask the owners if they'll allow it to be. Most will, because the things that we do benefit them. So that's one idea. Another thing is, let's say we have some kind of recruiting event. We need people out there who are, you know their area, that they can say to us, hey, you know what? I want to hold a recruiting event. Where's the best place to have it? I don't know Sussex County. You know, I don't know Burlington County. I don't know Warren County. So, I mean, even just to know, if I pick some remote area, then nobody's going to show up, right? But if you live in that area, or, you guys around here know which places in Toms River we can go and hold an event. I actually happen to have one, which is a good place, the Mansion. And we've had a couple of events there. It's a great venue. It's big rooms, and we can do whatever we want there. So, but we want to be able to do that all over the state. So you'll be hearing more about that. And it's not, the structure isn't for the structure itself. The structure is to move the mission forward. We have things that we're going to need to accomplish. If we want to change these laws, we're going to have to reach out to the local district legislators, right? From all of the districts throughout New Jersey. And we're going to have, same idea. We've got to be seen. But if I go, and that's what's been happening. See, I'm going out and doing this. But the problem is, I'm not in their district. So they shake my hand and they sit down and talk about, most of the guys who are pro Second Amendment. We have nice talks. They tell me about what guns they have, and so forth and so on. I know nothing about, but it's fun anyway. I do a lot of smiling and nodding. As they talk about rifles, I'm really lost because I don't know one end of the rifle from another. But we talk about, actually what we really talk about is the right, the rights. Yeah, and we concentrate on that. But the point I'm trying to make is, it would be better if he's your assemblyman. It'd be better that he knows you, because you can go there more often. So you can go there after, say, hey, I'll meet you for lunch, or I'll meet you after work. Well, let's grab a bite or a cup of coffee at the local diner. I need to talk to you. Now, they're not going to do that right away, but after they get to know you, they will. Because they do want to know what the voters are thinking. And if you can bring other voters along with you, all the better. Okay, so you get the idea. I mean, is there anybody that is unclear of what we're trying, you know, what we're trying to do, and, okay. So how we do it, we're still working on that. You know, we do have people, we put out requests for volunteers, we do have some volunteers. I don't know if we have enough yet, and I don't know if they're in the right places, but I think that you can picture this, you know, sort of like an octopus kind of thing, you know? And this state is weird, too, because we're really at least 3 states. The North Jersey people and the South Jersey people are like completely different. I know some people say that's not true, but it is true. And the Central Jersey people also. And then, you know, then the Northeast people are way different than the Northwest people, right? So, you know, we've got all these different blocks, and we need to penetrate all of them. You know, we can't abandon the Northeast just because, you know, it's densely populated and the population doesn't particularly, at this point, agree with our mission. We still, actually, a lot of them do. A lot of them do and just don't know how to go about it. It's amazing how many people have no clue that they can even own a gun legally, because they're not used to seeing legal guns. So we need to change that. So that's one of the things that we need to do. Why is that? You know, like I said, that's probably more important than some of the other things, other campaigns that we'd like to run, because those campaigns that we would like to run are going to depend on our having people in place to be able to help us execute them, really is what it boils down to. These are also the future leaders of the NJ2AS, because where are they going to come from? See, the future leaders of the NJ2AS are going to come from this network of people who are actually out here, the doers, the people who can do some recruiting, and the people who can get interest generated in their district and those sorts of things. So it accomplishes a lot of different things that we need to accomplish at the same time. And I'm not going to talk to you for too much longer. We talked a little bit about constitutional carry. I think it's premature to go into that in any real great detail. I guess what I want to leave everybody with today, and I hope that, and I think that we've gotten this point across, is that we can make a difference. I know you hear that all the time, and I know there's all kinds of pep talks, but we've seen it. You know, we've seen it in action. And what does it take? It takes some hard work. It takes some effort. It takes some phone calls. You know, I should tell you the story. When I decided that we needed to get the national attention, I said to myself, who has the ear of the national gun rights groups? Who has the ear of the typical gun user? And I said, Tom Gresham, Gun Talk Radio. A lot of people listen to that. It's on every Sunday. You know, he's got a huge listenership. And I know Tom. Why do I know Tom? Because I met him. I've gone to the SAF, the Second Amendment Foundation conferences. I mean, you know, I walked up to him, shook his hand, said, I really think the program's great, blah, blah, blah. And we sat and talked. Who are you? You know, I told him about the NJ2AS. And over, you know, I don't know, maybe I've been to 3 of them. We've become friendly. So when I pick up the phone, and he's interviewed me a few times on like the Brian Aiken situation and a few other things. So when I pick up the phone and I speak to his handlers, her name is Sarah, she's a sweetheart. And I say, you know, can you get me on with Tom? I have this issue that I need to speak about. And so he had already been familiar with the Shaneen Allen, so it was easy. I got on. And, you know, he asked me, hey, you know, you're in New Jersey, you're right there in the thick of it, what's going on? And we talked about it. And in the process of talking about it, he said, you know what would be a good idea? You guys should put up some billboards. Next thing I know, 2 days later, because his listeners heard that and started making notes, you know, tweeting him, or whatever you recall that. And sending him emails and saying, I would like to donate to this. How do I do it? You know, so he called up. This is how things happen. He then called up Alan Gottlieb of the Second Amendment Foundation, the executive director. And Alan said, well, you know, have them make the donations to us. We'll accumulate them. Not only that, but I'll match whatever your users send. And and then, and then NJ2AS will raise some money, we'll put it all together, and we'll buy the billboards. 2 days, in my 2 days, we have $6,000. And that's due to picking up the phone and just spending a few minutes on the phone with Tom Gresham. Did I know that was going to happen? No, I'm not a genius, I don't know that stuff, but I figured it couldn't hurt, and worst case scenario would, maybe, he'd mention it on the air, and people would, get the hint that we need them to call Governor Christie. But it went farther than that. And so we were able to take that money, put the billboards up, and give Shanine Allen $2,000 to help pay her rent and her bills and her food and everything else. Yes.
How much is a billboard? How much did it cost?
Billboards cost us $4,000. They gave us a good deal. $1,000 a piece for the 4 billboards, and they charge us less than $1,000. It was like 800 something for the actual production of the vinyl and all that, which is a separate charge. So, I mean, it really was relatively inexpensive. I'm sorry?
For how long?
For a month.
Is that through Gannett? Gannett gave you
No,
that?
no. This was interstate outdoor.
Oh, all right.
And they're specifically in that area. And they have some other areas too. But nice people. They're very easy to work with. Yes.
Yeah,
Hey, Jerry, how are you?
Pretty good, Frank.
Good.
I just want to say, I was on a conference call a week ago with people from Texas, Louisiana, Kentucky, and believe it or not, California, on there. And we are all sort of into a gun click, and we always say, send me this, send me that, and well, we can't send it here because, this is Jersey and all.
Yeah.
But they all do listen to Polite Society podcast, and Frank, they're very interested in what's happening up here.
Good.
They have no idea what New Jersey's like, other than what Frank has been portraying on there. So
I'm glad
Frank is doing a very good job on
you.
getting it out. But the other thing is that everybody else in the country, especially with the Shanine Allen thing on there, everybody that I talked to also they donated to her legal fund on that. And they say that as long as they can crush New Jersey's tyrannical laws, they're going to keep supporting. And they just wish that they knew more what was going on here.
Well, I'll talk to Paul. As a matter of fact, I'm going to meet Paul on Friday. He's going up to the SAF. There's a Second Amendment Foundation Gun Rights Policy Conference. They have it every year. It's this weekend. And so I'll be going up there on Friday, and I'll be meeting with Tom Gresham and Alan Gottlieb and Paul Lathrop of Guns and Politics and Polite Society. And yes, Grant.
Does Nina Allen have any ambitions to continue this after she's
Yes,
done with
she
the ballots?
does. Yeah.
To be a spokesperson or something?
Yeah, I just spoke with her today, as a matter of fact, and she's very, Grant, you had a question?
You mentioned that this came at the action of the Attorney General.
Yes.
So does that mean that the other plaintiffs that Evan Knappen is representing will also automatically go into PTI?
Not automatically, but they will automatically now be reviewed, and that even ones that have been convicted or accepted a plea deal, like that fella recently, his story was, and I don't know, I mean, I have to believe what people tell me, but his story was that, he had his gun and his buddies, he's in Pennsylvania, has carry permit, his buddies, took him to Atlantic City, they kind of kidnapped him and took him to Atlantic City for his bachelor party. He was getting married, and he had a gun on him. So he stuck it in the drawer in the room, when he went back to get it. Now, I don't know what the reality of the situation is, but that guy, same judge, he had the same judge, Judge Stonio, the same prosecutor's office, he was forced to take a plea deal because he didn't want to go to jail. So he is now a convicted felon. That probably will be reviewed. So, and not only that, but every other county, because the Attorney General is the one who came out with this clarification. It applies throughout the state.
This is absolutely huge.
Yeah. So we've accomplished a hell of a lot more than we even thought we could.
So why wouldn't we want to transfer our pressure to his case? Or where would
we might. I mean, I spoke to Evan briefly because Evans, before I came to the meeting, just before I came to the meeting, and he's up to here. Usually he goes to the gun rights policy conference, but he's got like 5 other cases, similar to this that he's, handling. So, at any rate, yeah, we will. We'll try to keep this momentum going. I'll be talking to him. I'll be talking to Jeff. I'll be talking to, there's other Paisano and Needleman. They may have some cases that we want to be aware of. Let's, and if you guys know, you'll tell me. But let's not. We're not looking for people that are questionable, because if we get involved with that, then it's going to reflect badly on us. So we don't want the guy that's got a really funky story. We really don't, because I don't, what do I know? You keep telling me anything. But Shanine's was very clear cut, and it was obvious she had no prior criminal record. She had just gotten her carry permit, so they just went in the back of the train. So anyway, are you comfortable over there, Donna? Just want to make sure. Nothing, go back to sleep.
Under the Shanine Allen, hopefully she's exonerated. After all this, no felony is on there.
There will be no.
Is there any way we could probably even put pressure back on her employers to rehire her?
I don't know. I really don't know that that'll be necessary. Let's. Right now, I think that we need to take a step back, revel in our, our victory, give her a chance, because she's now on the ceiling, and she's just so thrilled that she's not facing the possibility of being separated from her kids. I mean, when I talked to her, I guess maybe an hour before the meeting, she was just bouncing off the wall. She was so happy, and she really thanked us, like, up and down, for all the efforts that we put in. So let's take a step back, and then we have to look at the situation and then make a decision. What else can we do with this?
Was there any 2A groups in Pennsylvania helping her also?
You know what? Not that I know of, to be honest with you. There was a councilman, a minority councilman, who came out in her favor just recently, and he was a Democrat. And he said, "I'm not really a pro-2A guy, but this is ridiculous." And that's what, by the way, that is also something that we want to take advantage of, is that there were a lot of people who are not Second Amendment people, who are not gun owners, who saw this situation and saw it for what it was, as an injustice. So even though they don't necessarily believe in our right to carry, they do believe that it's wrong to persecute somebody for a simple error like that. So it's good to know that, and we can build upon that. Yes.
Jim Whalen from Atlantic County.
Yeah.
He was for the Shanine's law.
Shanine's law, yes.
Anti-gun.
Yeah.
Democrat.
Yeah, he's always been anti-gun.
Yeah.
But he is sponsoring. He's on board with the Senate version of the bill. He's introducing the Senate version. So, yeah. Yes.
I'm hoping the prosecutors now look at things more closely when it happens. I hope this makes a difference with them.
Yes. Yeah, I think it will. So, and so you're going to join now, right? You said you weren't a member, but now you're going to join, right? Because everything that we're doing. Any non-members here? Any other non-members? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Okay. Sign up before you leave. We have applications.
I would like to ask the gentleman, what would stop you from being a member? Sir?
Oh, don't put them on.
No, I just asked you, what incentive would...
Well, I believe in the Second Amendment all the way around. Right now, I don't own a gun.
I mean, did you just...
I was in the process of getting a gun. In fact, I had the police chief help me get the permit stuff, because they gave me a hard time down at the police station.
Yeah.
He went and got it for me,
Yeah.
And I got to ask about, but I have rheumatoid arthritis. Sometimes I can't even pick up a gun.
Yeah.
Next time, leave the hat home.
Leave the hat on?
You have to.
All right. Any other questions about anything else
You keep that
going forward? Matt, did you have anything that you wanted to say? Any questions? No? You're good? Okay, Cliff?
Maybe we want to revisit the idea that we're reinvigorating our operation compliance.
Yes. One of the things that we had stopped doing, mainly because frankly, we were not getting the results from the attorney that we had, who had previously been doing a fairly good job for us. just all of a sudden, you know, we weren't getting any results. I was calling and I was kind of getting, you know, blown off and, well, yeah, I know, I'm sorry, I haven't gotten to it, you know, I'll do it. And nothing was happening, so I finally said, you know what, we're not going to do the program anymore because the NJ2AS was advertising that they were going to do this Operation Strike Force. I don't know, has anybody heard anything about that? No, right? So,
I never heard of it called.
huh?
Describe the program that we're talking about.
Yeah, I will. But I mean, they were supposed to have this Operation Strike Force. Now, the program I'm talking about is called Operation Established Compliance. When we first started it off, it worked out very well. What we were doing is, we were asking you guys, when you went to go out and get your application for a handgun purchase permit or FID card, to let us know if if the police departments were giving you any additional forms whatsoever, because they're not allowed to. So if they were giving you anything other than the criminal background check and the mental health records form, doing the fingerprinting, asking you for 2 references and employer verification, and if they were handing you something that said, hey, we want your social security number and the last 5 places you lived, and we want the names of your landlords, and you know, we want 5 references instead of the 2 that are required, and so, well, that was happening a lot.
Notarized note from your employer?
Notarized, yeah, or from your wife saying it's okay with her that you purchase a firearm.
Need her permission for everything else.
Yeah, well, that's true. Let's be honest, guys. And this is not really that much of a stretch. Yeah.
Let me help you.
So, you know, so what we did was we engaged this lawyer. He wrote a lawyer letter, but he took it a step further, and we thought at the time it was a good idea. He was, you know, basically he would call first, you know, he'd try to schmooze with whoever, you know, the township attorney and see if he could work something out before, you know, he would, you know, then if he couldn't, then he would send the letter. But it always wound up the same thing. Once the letter was signed and, sent, township attorney really had no choice because the law is extremely clear. It says no additional forms or requirements. So, you know, most of these towns just comply. They comply. And, and some of the towns complied without us even going. And once we explained it to them, like Newark, believe it or not, stopped with their additional forms. So we had some very good successes. But then, like I said, I don't know what happened. I lost interest or whatever. So we're going to start it up again, and I think we're going to use Jeff, and I know I'm expecting a lot better success. So that was a very successful program. It really defined the NJ2AS at a time when, you know, early on. It was an idea of one of our founding members, Bob Barish, brilliant, West Point grad, very smart guy. And so we're going to try to resurrect that program. Yes?
I got 3 permits last week. I've been doing it for 30 years. This one took 33 days.
33 days?
Yeah. I've had them as early as 2 weeks in 30 years. My file is that thick. They showed it to me. I was impressed. But they usually squeak by with 29. This time they said 33. So I do my activism even in the police force.
So let's see, you got a pile that
no, it's about 3.5 inches.
You're buying that many guns. Can you adopt me? I mean, I'm figuring you must be Mr. Moneybags.
No, 30-something years.
Oh, okay, 30 years, all right.
But anyway.
Want to see my pile?
And I do the activism in the police force, which department, which has changed. They used to say, Greg, this is New Jersey, you can't have guns here. And I said, good attitude, give me 3 more permits. Now they say when the shit hits the fan, they're coming to my house. But anyhow, I asked why it took 33 days. I said, people are scaring me. And they said that was the mental health background. It says it goes to a big state database. And that's the biggest part of the delay right now.
Which I don't really understand, because if they were doing what they're supposed to be doing, that state database would be in the federal database, and all you'd have to do is pick up the phone.
Yeah. But Jersey has a problem with picking up the phone. That's a difficult task. The rest of the country can do it.
I'm telling you, these days it's getting harder and harder for me. All right, so rather than, I think we had a pretty good meeting. spent enough time? Anybody else have any concerns or questions that you want to go over? All right, well, I want to thank everybody, really. Give yourselves a round of applause for and we'll look forward to seeing you the next time. And we're going to try to have more of these meetings. We have to rotate throughout the state, but I'm thinking about doing, you know, like more than one at a time, so that we can maybe have one up in Sussex and one here at the same time. That way we'll see you more often. I may not see you, depends on which, but somebody will see you.
I'd like to ask you one question. You asked me, why haven't I joined? You came to 3 of our meetings. You haven't joined us yet.
If I joined can you imagine if I joined every tea party that I showed up at and gave a speech? Oh my God.